Hello everyone, this is Nova Prime, and welcome to devlog 1.5, version 2, remastered Electric Boogaloo. Today, we'll be going over the new Overload rework, as well as the new Gravity Chamber. I know we've had a lack of updates recently, as well as spoilers and everything like that, and we're sorry, but we've been just caught up with school and work and such, so we haven't had as much time to develop the mod. But we're getting back into it now, so you'll see more updates, and we're still gonna try and push for a release this year. Without further ado, let's get into it. Alright, so with Overload, before it was a pretty annoying thing to use when we showcased in the last devlog. Now it's more of a passive playstyle, so the whole charging to fire off those blasts and all the other just annoying and tedious things that were attached to it are now gone, and they've been replaced with a much better system. Things like that. The main changes are Overload is far slower now. If you can see here, it's extremely slow in Legendary, opposed to like probably 3 times as fast as it was before. As well, while in Overload, flying, as well as using skills will also increase your Overload, just to avoid you from being able to stay in it forever. There's more of a detriment now. And you can also, if you turn on flying, you can also charge while you're in Overload, and your Overload will very slowly go down, allowing you to keep it in check if you didn't want to Overload. As for the changes while in Overload, it's been completely reworked. The only things kept are the key randomization, so you can't see how much key you have, and the damage randomization every few seconds will still exist, although it has been buffed since the last devlog. Aside from that, although you can't really see it because it's very minor, you'll have very minor passive regen constantly while overloading. The amount of regen you have depends on how much key you started overloading with. So if you overloaded with, let's say, 30,000, you'd have higher regen than if you did it when you only had like 8,000, which allows you to be more aggressive while in this form. While in Overload, if you end up hitting close, very, very low amounts of key, you'll end up going into a Hypernova, which we'll talk about later, but it's definitely not the most fun thing for multiplayer. And it's kind of a last resort attack if you ever want to use it in that sort of way. So you can use it if you want, but you probably usually want to try to avoid using it, if you're a pussy, that is. While overloading, you'll never get key drain from anything else aside from flight and skills. So while flying, you'll be able to see my key dropping, and I can use skills to also drop the key. There's no real way to regen it other than just sitting in the form and using that very slow passive regen. So you're incentivized to either play it safe or try to avoid hitting 0 key within the 2 minutes of overload that you're forced into. And now let's talk about that. When you overload, you are forced to be in overload for 2 minutes. You can't untransform, meaning you can't just overload and then just dip, which was a big issue with the older one. When you end up hitting below 30% key in Overload, very rarely you'll experience something called power spikes. They're not really a good thing. They're very rare, but when it does happen, it'll lower your key by about 500 and take about 25 of your HP. You don't have to worry about them normally, but it's sort of just a extra gimmick that forces you to, I guess, play more safe and not be at low key for too long, because then you could power spike and end up going into a Hypernova. They're very rare. I haven't been able to get one to happen right now. As you can see, that was a power spike. They're very rare. I was sitting there for probably 3 minutes without getting one to happen, and they're definitely a detrimental thing, but They're added more for immersion, so if you can get one to happen, they're cool, but they might not be the best. Let's move on to the Hypernova animation. That was a Hypernova. It kicks you out of your form, stops your key regen for a little bit. It'll bring you down to 1 HP, but I forgot I have God mode on, don't worry about that. And does 10,000 damage to everything around you, which includes enemies, friends, and town NPCs. So you might want to avoid using that near your base, because you might end up wiping your base and your friends, which is why Overload is pretty fun. So you can use it if you want, but you're more looking to either kill your enemy with it, so you don't die because you're at 1 HP, or to kill your friends with it because you don't like them. Now then, let's get into the other section of this devlog, the new gravity chamber, which is a new structure that generates that'll mainly help you with training. It's very dangerous to use, but it's very, like, it's a good idea to use. You can use it if you want, but it might be slow, but it's definitely going to help. Let's head over there now. Alright, we're about to arrive at our world's gravity chamber. I'm just going to say it's still a little work in progress. The generation on it is still quite finicky. We've had them spawning in floating islands and such. I'll be fixing that later, so don't worry about the placement of this one. It's a little weird. But this is the new gravity chamber. It'll generate on the outer I don't know thirds, but like near the ocean. So you'll see it around here and around here. It's normally destroyed if you have 3 refined metal. I only have 1, but it should still work. If you have 3, you can repair it. You won't be able to get that very easily. You'll be able to get that pretty later into hard mode. So it's not something you'll be able to repair instantly. When it's active, you'll notice this is level 1. It'll give you buffs and debuffs. The main buff of using the gravity chamber is increased key gain on all killed enemies in the radius. So while you have this buff, if you kill anything and you get key from it, it'll be buffed, depending on how much gravity you have. On the contrary, you'll get debuffs, such as lowering your speed. You'll take more damage. You'll have lower life regen. You can't fly. I'm pressing the fly button right now because it's too heavy. You can right-click it again to up it to 50 Gs. Obviously, that'll give you more benefits, but it'll start being more of a detriment. You'll notice my health will start going down. I'm a lot slower. I mean, taking more damage, everything. For this one, you need a certain amount of ki, or else it'll start really draining your ki, your HP, I mean. So if you don't have enough HP, you're gonna have issues with these. And now, if we right-click it again, we can up it to 200 Gs, which obviously is gonna be the best for training, but is also the most dangerous to use, causing you to take vastly more damage and move far slower. You'll need a very large amount of ki to be able to use this one, and it's mainly for endgame training. This is the first of our training-oriented structures. We may rework it in the future, alongside the other stuff that will be coming in the world update, which we talked about before. So if you want to see this reworked and added with a bunch of other stuff, then vote for that if we end up winning the competition, which you all should know about. I just want to thank you all for tuning into this new devlog. I know it's been a while. We're going to try and get more of them out soon. But I hope you enjoyed this one. And I want to thank everyone for all the support we've gotten while developing the mod. I know it's taking a while, and I know you all are pretty hungry for the update. So just stay tuned. It's going to be good. We promise. We're still going to try and push for a 2020 release. There's a chance it might not happen. It all depends on just how we get things done. So stay tuned. Hope you enjoy, and tune into the next devlog. Thank you for watching.